morning and happy Saturday, you guys. It is Amanda and Barron with Kickin Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio, 104.3 FM and 1220 AM. Our sponsor for this first half is Oddmo's Pizza. So I just pulled up their website and it popped up their new mac and cheese thing. And because you can load it if you want. And it has the bacon crumbles, the green onions, jalapenos, tomatoes in the pitcher. So you can keep it classic or you can load it. And I'm sure that you can put other things in it as well, not just what's pictured. Chicken, all kind. Basically anything you can put on a pizza, I'm sure you can put on your mac and cheese. The ingredients
are sitting there waiting, so it's not hard to add it to it.
So definitely go check that out. It looks really good. Oh, some mac and cheese with some jalapenos. Yum.
Well, here we are in 2026. So
yes,
brand new options for people.
And let's be honest, it's been a holiday season and a half. So last week I said, don't cook on New Year's Eve and go get pizza. That's exactly what we did. But now I'm telling you this week, unwind and just relax and don't cook and go get Oddmo's Pizza.
Nice.
Huge shout out to Mike. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you.
Well, before we get too far into the show, I do want to introduce our guest for today. Chrystal Hart-Meeker, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes.
So for those that don't know you, tell us who you are, what you do.
I am an intuitive healer and guide, and I help to guide women and men who are trying to heal at the root. And that's what I do. I use many modalities, which we'll talk more about, but that's the gist of it.
So that'll be a little bit of our conversation for today.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Well, last week was a lot of fun. We had Ashley sit here with us and kind of did a review of what had happened in 2025.
Yeah, just kind of like a recap.
Yeah, it's always interesting when I do those to realize how much did happen during 1 year, right?
A lot.
A lot. From polar plunges to golf tournaments to the concerts with Russ. And was there one thing last year that we did that really kind of was a big memorable point for you?
I would have to say probably the polar plunge. I think that's a big one for me, especially when we had survivors and people that were currently in their battle that were jumping. It was really eye-opening. So I don't like water, and getting into that water is difficult for me. But then when I looked down the line this year, it was like, this should be no thing whatsoever, because of who is jumping in with us.
Right.
And they didn't just jump in and jump right out. There was one lady, I can't remember her name, and she swam all the way.
I think that was Eric Hurley.
Eric Hurley.
There was a group of them, but she let it.
Yes, she swam all the way across and all the way back. And it was so inspirational to see these people that have had battles or that are currently battling and face this, when I to me, this was like, oh my gosh, this is really difficult for me. And it was like, no, this is nothing compared to what they've done.
Puts it in perspective for you, doesn't it?
And it was just really powerful, us all coming together and jumping like that for a bigger cause, but just everybody's story also that was in that line.
Yeah.
It was a really great group of people.
And we had the entire side of the pool that time.
The whole side of the pool.
Yeah.
So that was really...
That's the biggest groups we brought to the pool plunge.
So that was probably one of my biggest things that I remembered. And it was just like, okay, they are doing the hard battles. I am just here to just participate. Like, this is nothing. And they're amazing.
Your moment
people.
in the water was nothing.
Nothing compared to what they are battling and doing. Correct.
Yeah, I think that and the concerts for Russ were the big deal for me.
Mm-hmm.
We did both. We did the one in Kaiser, then we did the bigger one in Corvallis, and just to see Russ out there with his friends and dancing and enjoying life as he's gone through his battle.
Yes, those videos were really cool. Yeah. He was on cloud 9. That was really cool.
That was a good time doing the concerts for Russ.
It was. Yes. So. Agreed.
Well, one of the things we've been doing, Chrystal, is we got this magazine. I found it at a Safeway or one of the grocery stores. It's 100 disease-fighting foods. Just been going through it one at a time and what that food has as value for us. And this week is blueberries.
Okay.
Are you a fan of blueberries?
Not really.
Not really?
If I'm being completely honest.
You like blackberries more than blueberries?
Oh, yes, all day long.
All day long.
Blueberries are kind of bittery and earthy tasting to me.
Well, they're much sweeter. They're much sweeter than the blackberries. The blackberries have a little more tart taste to them.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess maybe just an earthy tone.
Super season.
Yeah. She's like, shut up. Quit talking them down. Okay, go on with your amazing blueberries.
What it says about blueberries is blueberries blueberries could be the poster child for disease-fighting foods.
Okay.
Sorry to ruin your...
That's okay. That's okay.
And for great reasons. Blueberries are loaded with not only vitamins and fiber, but also anti-inflammatory antioxidants that may play a role in cancer prevention.
Okay.
Like blackberries, they have neuroprotective. There is a very good evidence that blueberries and certain other foods can help you stay sharp as you age and really reduce cognitive decline.
Okay.
So I know that one of the things I love to do is to go to Costco and get that blackberry, blueberry, raspberry frozen mix and then blend them together, because the raspberries and blackberries will have a little more tart taste to them.
Yeah.
But all three of those are big, huge in the antioxidants categories.
Yeah.
So.
They're really good for dogs too, blueberries.
You freeze them and let the dogs eat them frozen, don't you?
I do. I freeze them in the summertime and give them to them as treats.
That's so awesome. That's so fun.
Maybe I need to take my own advice and give them to myself.
Or like when we're talking about pomegranates and the pomegranate juice.
Yes.
Blueberry pomegranate juice.
I like the blueberry pomegranate
juice.
juice.
Blend it with something.
I did do that.
Blend it with something.
Yes, this is true. Okay, fair enough.
So, well, I'm going to shift over to Chrystal, and I want to kind of get an idea of who you are and how you got into this journey that you're doing. So tell us a little about you.
Yeah, so I really started my journey, I would say in 2018, I started dabbling into the personal growth space just a little bit. My best friend was a holistic life coach for women, and so she would invite me along to do things with her. And I was so busy at the time. I was running my business with my husband side by side with him, so I was working really long hours. In addition to that, raising 3 boys, and doing, all the mom things.
Right.
And in addition to that,
full-time job
I was volunteering. I was on boards and committees. And I mean, my nervous system was just shot. Yeah. I was all over the place, just living in chronic stress, thinking this is how we live life, right? Mostly like drinking alcohol in the evenings just to cope with it all. It was just not a very good season in my life. But I started dabbling just a little bit into doing some personal growth things. I would join little group coaching things. I went to, like, for the first time, I went to a conference in Denver with my best friend. That was like a big deal for me. That was the first time that I invested in myself. And I didn't even tell my husband I was leaving until the night before.
Really?
Literally, I was so scared. And I was like, he's going to tell me no. He's going to tell me no. And so literally he came home and I was like, so tomorrow morning I'm going to Denver. And he's like, what? No, you're not. And I was like, yeah. And I mean, so that meant he had to take care of the kids, get him to all the things that he, that wasn't his routine. But anyway, so that was
for a loop, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, he was not happy. So anyways, that was my first dabbling in, and you can tell I was very confident in doing that. So I went to Denver, and I was really happy, and I was like, I'll never do that to my husband again. Sure enough, I did it 6 months later. The same thing, only this time it was in California. So I was like, oh my gosh, I had a lot of growth that really needed to happen. So anyway, so I kind of dabbled there and, slowly progressed just a little bit, obviously not a lot in that first 6 months. And in 2020, things got really serious for me. Like many people, my life really, really changed with my kids being homeschooled. So at that time, I had been working full time since I was 15 years old, and I didn't know.
Were your kids homeschooled before?
No.
So that threw a whole new level for you, having the kids almost.
Yeah,
right.
And as a person who had been going to work since 15 years old, like that was what I did. And so literally my husband's like, well, I need to go to work, so you have to stay home with the kids. And I'm just like, what? What are you talking about right now? And so, but it was such a good thing for me. I mean, I really truly look at COVID as like the biggest blessing that ever happened in my life. My life significantly changed, like many did. But in homeschooling my children, what I was able to take a front seat at was my youngest son was struggling severely. He was only 8 years old. He was talking about self-harm on basically a daily basis. crisis. And at the time, before COVID happened, he would have issues at school, and I would show up at school, and, I was like his savior. He'd run up to me, mommy, mommy. I was saving him from this horrific place, at school. And and I would be saving him from the day. When COVID happened, it changed our relationship completely.
To the good?
No. To the bad. To the bad. Then I became the teacher. Oh. And so that became very aggressive. So now he's being aggressive towards me, whereas before it was like, mommy, 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 Yeah. It became aggressive, and, he was crying, I was crying, it was terrible. And at the time, again, like, I had lived in the state of chronic stress for so long, and in the state of basically being numb and just surviving, to be perfectly honest. Like, I was living in survival mode. And when I had to become a teacher, and I was also still working from home too, so I still had responsibilities that I needed to do for our business, I really had to look within, and I knew that in order to better take care of him, I had to take care of me.
Okay.
And so that's where my life really, really shifted. It became me first, and it hadn't been me first ever in my life. And that was a new concept, as a mom and as a wife.
It's a hard one to wrap your mind around.
Yeah. You're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
How do I put me first?
Me first is a hard concept for a lot of people.
It is. It is. Yeah. And so, and it feels really selfish at first, and people even look at you as being selfish. I remember even my husband, he's like, my biggest thing that I would do was I would meditate, and he's like, how is this helping me? And I'm like, well, it's not.
Be honest,
yeah, it's helping me. So if you would like to meditate, I can help you. But so it really started pretty simply, and so with just meditating in the morning, just taking that time, because what I was doing is I would jump out of bed, just like all of us, we snooze our alarm clocks to the last minute, jump out of bed, and we're off to the races. And meditation became the most important thing that I did, and that way I could really truly ground in my body. And that led me on paths of many different things. So I started doing Reiki. So I started receiving Reiki. It was 2020 at the time. So I only received Reiki really virtually. And that's where I really started to lean into the fact of, if I heal me, I could heal my son. And that's really what drove me, was like, and it's hard still as moms to just still do things that are mostly just for you. And so like at first that was my anchor. It was like, I knew if I could just heal myself, that this was going to trickle down into him, because honestly, as the mom, we're the central nervous system of the house.
Yeah.
If we're in fight or flight, if we're suffering from anxiety, our children are all feeling that. And my youngest son was definitely feeling that from me. And he was responding and acting out. So that's how it began.
And prior to COVID, whatever he did was acting out of school, but now he's there with you. So you're seeing a whole lot more of what's going on, aren't you?
Yeah. And what his teachers got was nothing compared to what I was getting.
Oh, I'm sure.
So he felt even more safe with me. And so the response was just so much more, and so much just, it was just it was a very scary time. And for me, it took me a while to even talk about it, because the truth was that I was ignoring it. There was a big problem happening, and I had this facade of my life and what I was doing, and that was making me feel good, but I was dropping the ball on the things that were the most important, and that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But that's the truth, and
Cat code became kind of like a magnifying glass for you of what was going on around the house.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was definitely life-changing, and it just got me on my path and on my journey. So I started doing many different things for myself. I started receiving Reiki. That was really the first thing. I started doing breath work. Breath work was actually my first session of breath work was where I heard, if you heal you, you will heal him. And I didn't really know what that meant at the time, but I was like, you know what? I believe that.
Yeah.
Whatever that means, I believe it. And so that was enough for me just to continue on to my journey. And I thought Reiki was just going to be healing that I received, but it ended up being so much more.
Oh yeah. Do you remember when we had Ricky on talking about Reiki? Yeah.
Yeah. So I know what
Just for
it's cool because I know what that is.
Refresh on what the
Yeah.
Reiki is.
Yeah.
So for the listeners that don't know
Yeah.
what Reiki is, could you explain what Reiki is?
Of course, yeah.
We had a guest on sometime back, but explain what Reiki is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Reiki is basically we're channeling life force energy. And so me as the practitioner, I'm just calling in the energy, and the energy moves through me and then into the person. So where I touch or where I set intention, et cetera, et cetera. So, but really it's like moving the energy of the stored traumas, our stored stories in our bodies. And that's why it can be an emotional experience. But most of the time, it's just such a nourishing experience. I'm like, if nothing else, I'm pouring love and light into you for an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I'm filling up your cup. Like, you're depleted and I'm just going to pour this in and fill you back up.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, Reiki is like a big hug. Like, let's be honest. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. It's like somebody's just loving on you, hugging you, and nurturing you for, however long your session is.
I love that.
So did you then make a decision to go get some certifications?
Yeah, not quite yet.
I'm jumping ahead in the story.
I ventured into, initially I was at a retreat. So I started attending retreats, and I did tell my husband about these. So I started attending.
No more surprises.
Growth is there.
Yes, it happened. So I started attending retreats on a pretty regular basis and telling my husband about it months in advance. And he was on board with me doing them. And at a retreat in Tulum, I received in a breathwork session. See, breathwork is where I got a lot of information that I needed to sign up to do my best friend's life coaching certification. I was like, oh, that'll be interesting. I mean, I could use this, for our business. And that was in 2021. So we were kind of coming up and out of COVID. But I still had a lot of growth and healing to do. And I was like, well, this will be good for me. I'll use it. Well, with that certification came your Reiki level 1. So you got your Reiki level 1 attunements in the certification. I was like, oh, perfect. Well, I love Reiki. This will be good for me because your Reiki level 1 attunement is just all basically for you. It's all about doing your self-practice. So I went through that, still not believing I was going to be a life coach in any way, shape, or form. And then it came down to like getting the certification. My best friend goes, you have to coach people to get certified, right? And I was like, what? And so
I just not receive it and call
I
that
was
good,
like,
right?
Yeah, I was like, I don't think that's for me. But I started coaching people and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. And so I always kind of went into everything half not believing that I was going to do it. Like 51%. That's what I always tell people. You have to at least 51% believe. As long as it's 51%, you're going to go for it. If it's 49, you're probably going to give up.
Right.
So I'm like, at least 51% believed.
Right.
So I started that. I started coaching people and I'm like, oh, this is my jam. Like I've been doing this my whole life. And so, but then with that, I got my Reiki attunements. Again, still not fully believing that I was going to be a Reiki practitioner. And so I was like, I'm just going to stuff that in my back pocket, And I went on to get my Reiki level 2 certification. Even in that, like, I was like, I'm not going to use this. I'm not going to work on people. I can't see myself like doing full on Reiki sessions. And then I got back home and I started doing full Reiki sessions. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like everything else. And so I just started stacking on different modalities and different things that all were a thing for me. The only one that I really didn't was breathwork. I was like, breathwork, I love breathwork, but breathwork is like the thing that I'll go and, go to a class and do breathwork, but I'm not going to be the practitioner.
Right.
It's so powerful, but I'm like, it's also work where I love Reiki because Reiki, you just lay, you surrender, you receive. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't give ourselves the gift of doing nothing and letting somebody else just kind of pour into us often enough. So
Agreed.
I've been through a breathwork session and they
Yeah.
really are a lot of work on your part and on the person
Yeah.
giving it to work you through these breath exercises.
Absolutely.
They are very beneficial.
Yes.
But
One person who comes to mind is Jennifer Jean from Testimony.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. I love her breath work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
I didn't
so
know
good.
it was
Jean portraits.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I love her style too. Sometimes it can be intense, which I do love because you can have these incredible euphoric experience. You can receive guidance. You can receive all those things in a breathwork experience, but you can receive all that with Reiki too.
Right.
And Reiki, it's like, again, which way do you want to go? Do you want to have to work or do you want to just surrender?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're to the point that you're going to become Reiki certified.
Yes, so I did become.
This timeline right
So I
here.
became Reiki certified in level 2 in 2021 or 2. I can't remember. They all kind of flow together. So I started on that path, and as I was doing Reiki, I was like, well, these are like I love Reiki, but now I'm missing coaching. How can I mend these, like merge them together? Like, how can I make something cohesive? And so I started using Reiki and coaching. And so I started doing programs where I could coach people and help people with mindset and things like that, as well as continue to help them move the energy around their traumas and around their wounding. Because ultimately, when I was life coaching people, I was like, you can life coach people, but like they're going to usually come back around and be doing the same patterns and the same things over and over again, because you're not healing at the root.
Yeah.
Whereas with Reiki, I was able to start healing at the root cause. Like, when did this happen? Where did this come from?
What caused the trauma?
Yeah. And how can we move that? And then I can coach you. And so I started doing that. And that I was seeing transformation happen in people because we were actually getting to the root.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, that's really
cool.
It was a really fun progression. But then I stacked on more.
Wait,
there's more.
And I find that so many times that if you go to, say, a psychologist,
I was just gonna say that
they're going to talk about what I call the presenting problem.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on in your life, that's what the psychologist is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But until they can find the root that caused that problem,
Yeah.
it's never going to go away.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And for me, I wanted this transformation. It was so important for people to get progress and see a massive shift and change in their lives. And I was like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I wanted them to have that transformation that I had gotten. And when I was just doing one or the other, I wasn't seeing as much of that. So then I got certified in the Akashic Records. So the Akashic Records are basically like your soul's records. And I started doing inner child healing and lineage clearing for people. So even a deeper form of transformation. So again, going deep down into the root. And then I finish with Reiki, and I also do sound healing at the end. So moving the energy around whatever that is. So I can have a client laying down, telling me about this traumatic thing that happened in their childhood. And then I just fill them back full of love and light, moving the energy around whatever we just uncovered, and then finishing with sound healing, which is so powerful too, because the way that the sound vibration penetrates the body, and because it amplifies when it hits water, and we're mostly water.
Okay.
And so the
That
sound,
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
the sound
That's
continues
cool.
to move. Yeah. And so they may have just talked about something that was just so deep rooted in their lives and really cried. And afterwards I'm like, well, how do you feel? And they're lighter. They always feel lighter.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I'm like a mom, just like rocking them, and I'm like, this is how healing should be done in such a loving and nurturing way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, really what it is.
So are you certified just in Oregon?
Well, you don't have to have I have insurance in Oregon, and I have, my licensing is in Oregon. But with Reiki and stuff, unless there are certain states where you have to be a licensed massage therapist. I know Florida for sure, you have to be a licensed massage therapist. So I couldn't practice Reiki there. If you're touching, but I think I could do distance. So I think I could, because I'm not actually touching them. And a lot of times with Reiki, you're not touching. You can just be hovering.
Right.
But yeah, and so it's state by state.
Huh.
Okay, interesting. Is it hard to, when you're doing Reiki and you're listening to what the person's trauma is from their childhood, is that hard for you to absorb? How does that affect you personally?
Yeah, I don't absorb it. And I think that is what makes a really good practitioner is you have to be really, really rooted and grounded, and you have to do your own healing. If I didn't do my own healing work and really because with all of my certifications, I had to do the work too. I had to do the healing. And so, when I was getting certified in inner child work, I can't even tell you how many inner child sessions of my own.
Right.
But when you do all that healing work, you're able to just hold the space for a person. I'm very, people are like, I'm such an empath and I feel everything. And it's like, well, I'm an energy worker. So of course I do too, but I have to be able to hold the space. My job is to hold that space, to be there for you and just hold that and be grounded in my own, in my own energy and not take that on.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yep, it does indeed.
That's the hardest part.
Oh, that's what I was like. How do
Yeah.
that's what I was
Learning
thinking
the
is,
boundaries and
yeah.
not
Yeah,
absorbing
yeah,
that, 'cause that's
yeah.
a lot.
You do. You have to have really good energetic boundaries. You know, people are always, making their boundaries for how they're going to show up at the holidays
Yeah.
with their family that's
Right.
being difficult. But her energy is, you have to have an energetic boundary too, and that takes like really grounding. I tell people just to create an imaginary shield around yourself,
Yep.
just to create that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break really quick. Huge shout out to Oddmost Pizza. Mike, absolutely amazing. They've got wings, they've got pizza. You can load it with everything imaginable, or you can go a healthy route and do the cauliflower crust with the green monster, add some chicken and bacon crumbles, and you will thank me later.
That's the one that you love so much.
I love it so much. I really do. And don't forget about their new loaded mac and cheese. You can keep it classic or you can load it. We'll be right back, you guys.